Okay, this is not going to be a very popular video that I'm going to do. It's going to be about 9/11, specifically Building 7. Now, this is a compilation of Building 7 collapsing. Note the crimp in the middle. Alternately, they've said they pulled a building, which is a demolition term for pulled the building down. Silverman, the man that owned the World Trade Center, said that the fire department pulled it down. It takes weeks to set the charges correctly. You have to get to the core columns and set them to bring it down. Now, they said they did it for safety reasons. Well, you can't demolish a building within an hour. It was barely on fire, and there was only 12 rooms that were actually on fire in it. And it crashed. It never was hit by a plane. It was never sprayed with jet fuel. By the way, jet fuel burns cooler than gasoline, just for your information. So this is a compilation of the collapse, and you can tell it's a demolition. Like I said, they alternately said it collapsed, and that's a controlled demolition. There's no doubt about that. I'll let that run just a little bit longer here while I bring up who benefited from it, because that's how you can tell who was responsible. Like I said, there was no plane that crashed into Building 7. This is obviously a controlled demolition. This is the smoking gun of 9/11. It was approximately a 47-story building. So let's end this for a while. You can look at it on your own at your leisure here. So let's get a little light on the subject. Okay. So Building 7 was not struck by an airplane. Building 7 only had 12 rooms on fire. Building 7 had no jet fuel injected onto it. There's been alternating narratives as to why it collapsed. Silverstein, the man that made the most money off of the 9/11 initially, said the fire department of New York decided to pull the building. And like I said, it takes a long time to set the charges for something like that. There were 7 occupants of Building 7. They are, the biggest one by far was Solomon Smith Barney, the parent company for Citibank, which was under investigation at the time. The Secret Service had its largest field office there. It had 200 employees. The IRS had an office there. The Department of Defense had an office there. And strangely enough, that department had all the audit material that, remember at the time the Pentagon was under audit for missing the trillions of dollars, and all that information happened to be in Building 7. The CIA had a secret office there. The New York City of Emergency Management had an office there, and American Express. Now, at the time this happened, they evacuated the building. Nobody died in this building. Everybody got out safely before they pulled the building. Although they said it collapsed, they actually pulled it. They basically admit to that, although the story is conflicting. The secondary emergency management place was actually a police academy, and that's where Giuliani went before he actually came down to ground zero later. Okay, so let's go to page 2 here. Okay, the documents that were destroyed in Building 7. Like I said, it was the Secret Service largest field office with 200 employees. They had 3,000 to 4,000 documents about various Security Exchange Commission investigations, including Enron, who had donated money to the Taliban, Citigroup, WorldCom. There was CIA documents of all their various and sundry dealings around the world that conveniently were destroyed. And like I said before, remember the Pentagon was missing trillions of dollars in an audit that just disappeared. And Rumsfeld was asked about Building 7. He said he really didn't know anything about it. But both Rumsfeld and Cheney had to resign their board seats on Solomon Smith Barney to get into the cabinet of the president. And Barbara Boxer was also under an insider trading examination, and all that was in the 3,000 to 4,000 documents in the SEC that the Secret Service was guarding that just conveniently went away. A little side note on that, I belong to a thing called the Academy of Political Science, and here's my membership for the year 2007, and I got promoted to fellow in 2011. I've been a member a long time, and I used to go to New York occasionally for the voting for the officers, and they have several honorary members on the, and it's the oldest think tank for politics in the United States. It has actually the least power, but it actually does the most actual work as compared to the CFR. But anyway, they've got some honorary people on this board. David Rockefeller was on it, and I was there at a meeting, and Dick Cheney and Barbara Boxer, I kind of ran into them when they were having a moment. It wasn't like they were having sex or groping each other, but those two people genuinely like each other. And I tell this to people all the time now. 9/11 was primarily a Republican-sided operation, but there were some Democrats involved in it too. And Barbara Boxer, the Democratic senator from California, she got out of stuff because of that. So there was never any push. The 9/11 Commission was a whitewash of what actually happened, and there was Democrats that made money off of it. The Carlyle Group made a lot of money off of it. The Clintons even made some money off of it. So anyway, let's go back up there. So there's a BBC reporter that reported that the building collapsed 12 minutes before it actually fell, and there's a window behind her, and you can see the smoke coming from the World Trade Towers 1 and 2, but Building 7 is still standing. And there's a man named William Cooper who was killed by the police about 3 months after 9/11. But on his radio, he had a shortwave program, and in June, about 90 days earlier, he was saying that there was going to be a terrorist attack on the buildings. It was going to be blamed on Osama bin Laden, and he called him by name. His name was William Cooper. He wrote a pretty famous book, Behold the Pale Horse. And I'd like for you to check that out. I have a link to it on page 2 of my website, timbosplace.com, but you can just go straight to YouTube and punch in William Cooper or Bill Cooper 9/11 prediction, and it'll come out. I'd also like you to check out the Jersey Girls. NORAD was also running a exercise called Vigilant Guardian, where hijacked planes were attacking buildings, ramming into them. And you can hear some of the confused pilots that are driving around when they're flying around, and air traffic control is trying to get some people to shoot these down, and they're saying, is this real world or exercise? And also at Fort Monmouth in New Jersey, they were holding a demolition exercise that was 25 miles away, and they were conveniently rushed down to ground zero. I'm going to do a couple more videos about 9/11, and it'll be on one of these 2 YouTube accounts. There's my website, and you can like me on Facebook. Let's just kind of go over that lady on, let's just kind of cover her here.
Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
And this is her.
Well, only really
and you
what
can
you
see the building in the
details
background.
are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York, behind me, down by the World Trade Centers of.
So they were reading off script. They're just actors. Most reporters are just actors.
Do their job, but this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott
it'll become
Hotel
clear. They'll
next
pan
to the
away
World
where you
Trade
can see the
Center
building
also
still standing.
collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from
And And if you'll remember, the main reason I put off doing anything about 9/11, there it is right there.
The Trade Center
That's it. Carefully outlined right there.
Smoke and ash.
There's
We know that
Building
behind that,
7.
there's an empty
Still up.
piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of
anyway,
the financial prosperity of this city. But
this last summer,
quickly
2 skyscrapers
disappeared
have caught
now,
fire.
and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very
One of the
few
largest
people in
buildings in the
Sullivan
world in
building when
Dubai
it
caught
collapsed.
fire.
I mean,
It burned for
there were,
hours
I
on
suppose,
end.
fears of
Multiple
possible
places
further
it didn't
collapses
collapse.
around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area
That,
behind me has been completely sealed off. And
giant
evacuated,
condominium
apart
in
from the emergency workers. That was
Britain
done by the
burned
mayor, Rudy
for like
Giuliani,
13 hours and
much
it didn't
earlier
collapse.
Today, because of, course, the dreadful collapse of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. But
These were
New York
unique
very
things. Like I
much
said,
as
this
it
is just
still
about
in
Building
chaos.
7, but I'm going to
Phones are
do
not working properly,
unanswered
the
questions
subway
about
lines are not
9/11.
working properly. And we know that down
The Twin
there,
Towers
near the World
were
Trade Center,
controlled
there are
demolitions
3
being brought
schools
down.
that are being turned into
Anyway, the
triage
time has come to
centers
tell the
for
tale. I don't know if
emergency
anybody even
treatment.
cares
And I know
anymore.
that over in New York
But the
Harbor,
seeds of
where
what
the
happened
things
then,
went
we're
through,
reaping right now. And here's where they cut the live feed because they realized that they had screwed up. But anyway, thank you. Like and excuse me, just please share, or you can subscribe. I don't really read the comments because I get too many trolls on my site. But if you could share this, I'd appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.